Hi everybody. I'm trying something new today. I am sitting in my comfy easy chair in my living room, and this is where I usually do this type of work. If you follow me on Instagram, you will see that I've started a new series of portrait sketches on old documents. This one happens to be part of an old map of the Cleveland, Ohio area where I'm from. I'm from over here a little ways, about 30 miles from Cleveland proper. But these have been really fun. I've done them on ledger paper, on old book pages. So if you want to jump over to my Instagram account and see the rest of them, and maybe I will put some at the end of this video for you to see. If you're new here and you haven't subscribed to my channel, I appreciate it if you did that, if you like what you see. If you like this video, share it with someone who also might like it. And leave me a comment and let me know what you think of these portraits on old documents. You can see my goal generally when I do a map portrait is to follow the street lines, which that's what I've done all the way down to here. And then sometimes it's just not possible, so I went back outside the line to there and then followed it again here. The shoulder and neck area do follow street lines. So now my goal is to see if I can find within the head that I've sketched out the proper places to put the features and whether or not I can follow any street lines there. Now I see this red line right across here, Route 17, which is an old route. This map I think is probably from the 60s or 70s. But Route 17 is what we used to follow to go to the airport, which is right here. That's my goal, and I am going to probably just speed the whole rest of this video up and maybe stop in and out and give you some insight as to my thoughts or what I'm doing. But yeah, that's what I'm doing here today, and so I hope you enjoy the video. I hope you enjoy watching the process, and I hope you'll join me over on Instagram and see the rest of the series that I've been working on. So normally with a head, now this one is looking off to the left, but I think this line right here is probably a good position for the eyes, because the eyes are generally halfway, within the head area. This line here is just for my reference. That will at some point go away once I add hair. And I don't know that you can see, my iPad is above me. Let me see. You can see almost up to here, I think. The rest of the way has the list of towns and parks and yacht clubs and whatever. But the hair will eventually make it up into this area where Lake Erie is. So let's just get started. And I'm already not liking this line. I may have to adjust it a bit and follow this line up maybe. Or maybe I won't be able to follow it at all. Sometimes it just doesn't work out for you. Let's get rid of that line. Sometimes if you do follow the lines, it just makes the face a little bit wonky. Her chin is too long here. So I'm just going to have to forego that line and shorten it up here a little bit. Okay, so now she's more facing forward. can still kind of follow that line for her neck. Okay, on our way here. I need to make her mouth the same on both sides since I straightened up her face. The hairline, I think, probably top of the head is a little bit large. So let's move it down some. In my case, a good eraser is essential. I do a fair amount of erasing because as I go, I can see when things need to be adjusted as the drawing progresses. That's a little better. And I do think this side it's got to be adjusted too. It's bothering me already. I'm going to follow this line and then just connect it. Go back up through the airport like I said before. Let's see if that, I need to come over more and then in. Okay, let's erase those lines and see if that doesn't look better. I wanted to follow that map line, but not at the expense of the drawing. So just seeing all the lines within the face, I think, is what makes it interesting. It's just fun to try to pick out the lines and see if you can follow them, but it doesn't always work. She's still a little long here. Could move her mouth down a little bit. I think I'll do that. So there would be a shadow underneath the bottom lip. And this is when I start to just lay down just a little bit of graphite where the shadows would be. I'm going to shorten her nose. It's a little wonky. I'm sorry if my hand gets in the way. That's better. This is a little longer than what I would normally make it, but I think it'll be okay. Then shade in her pupils. I do sometimes come back and darken up the darkest areas with a pen. Alright, I'm going to grab blending stump and just start moving that graphite around. I like doing it this way because I can still see all the map lines even after I'm shading. And since I brought her face in so much this way, the neck's now got two. It can't be way over here anymore. Sometimes I lose my lines and I have to follow this one. Sometimes I try to erase the map lines and that doesn't work. Bring you in a little closer. So then we get to a point where we have to decide, this ear is too short. We have to decide what kind of hair does she need. Sometimes that's a hard decision. And there's usually a bit of a highlight at the top of the lip. Well, I can just create that with this little eraser by just taking some of the graphite off. Her teeth are a little too gray. Teeth aren't ever completely white because there's shadows. And even if your teeth are white, you're not going to ever appear white because your lips shade them a bit. And then just take out some graphite where the highlights would naturally be. Okay, she's coming along pretty well. Strengthen the highlights in her eyes a little bit. I will come back and add some white ink in there. With the eyes, usually I do add some ink to define them more. Do that at the end. And sometimes it's hard to do over top of the graphite. Sometimes the graphite has a tendency to want to repel the ink, but and these I don't usually do too much detail as far as hair or clothing, only because I want to keep the map lines. But you see this line right here? It could be hair or up this way. On this side, if it was coming around, it could follow this line here. Let's try that. I'm going to sharpen my pencil. And then now this is where part of this goes away. We've established where the top of her head is, and your hair extends quite a ways above the actual top of your head. So if we put a part here of some sort, I can follow this kind of there. So in this case, her ear might still show. Or I can bring hair across there. Then if we come off here, I can follow, not really, there's not much to follow on that side. So here where we had the shading can go away because there will be hair there, as well as this side where her hair goes. So then I look to see, are there any lines within that hair outline that would be good to follow for like actual sections of hair. Over here I see some. Okay, I'm pretty happy with this so far. So there would naturally be a bit of a shadow right at her hairline. So we'll get that in there. And then I'm going to go over this outer line, now that I'm pretty sure that's where I want to keep it, just to soften it. Unfortunately, the hair doesn't have to be perfectly symmetrical and identical on both sides, because, I mean, whose is, right? I don't know about you, but I do my own hair. It's never the same on both sides. And then there would naturally be a shadow. If her hair's tucked behind her ear, there would be a shadow around the ear and at the neck. And since there's no line there, I'm just kind of giving a little shading above and below where it says Cleveland, because I don't want to go through it. I want to be able to see it clearly. Yeah, I'm liking her so far. Okay, at about this stage is when I take a break. So I will be back. Okay, I'm back. What I did notice when I came back and looked is I want this to be a little lighter in here. Okay, this is a Uniball Micro black. And there are just certain places that I like to darken, like the lines between the teeth and these edges out here where it just kind of fades into the back of the mouth. There are more teeth, but you just really don't see them that much. The nostrils, just like the darkest places. Then I am going to kind of bring back the outline. Not everywhere, I'm not going to follow the whole outline of her face. Then I'm just going to start sectioning her hair and just put some fine lines where it would be the darkest. Okay. I don't want to add too many lines in there because I don't want to lose all of the map behind the hair. Now, at this point, I need to decide whether I want to color this map with the you know, around her with a transparent ink, so I can still see the map, but it's not really fighting with what's within the portrait, because that's really where I want to see most of the lines. Up here, I generally just leave this part of the map. So, you know, if someone buys this piece, because it is Cleveland and vicinity, they can easily read what's up here. But the focus is here. She is a little off center, but only because I was finding lines that I could follow. This is always a hard decision, so I'm gonna think about it a little bit, I think. For the parts of her that I want some really strong highlights, I will use a gel pen. Like for the highlights in her eyes, they need to be pretty white. And I think I will put a little bit of a highlight right along this edge of the iris. I'm just going to come in with my blending stump and kind of soften those ink lines just a little bit with some graphite. It's okay. Eyelashes. I think I'm going to start just by putting some color down here on her shirt. So I'm just going to take this, I'll tell you what color it is in a minute. I'm going to take a little bit of that blue because I'm going to water it down because it's not a, this is not a transparent color, I don't think. Now see, it's opaque. It's cerulean blue hue, Liquitex acrylic ink, but I'm going to water it down a lot because I don't want to lose the notations on the map. I still want to see those, and I'm just going to fill that in. And I think that goes okay with the color of the lake. And I try to stick, if I can, to the map colors when I, you know, fill in backgrounds so that I don't get a lot of, there's a lot of color back here. There's red and there's pink and there's green and there's blue and gray and black. So I'm thinking maybe this light green, but I'm not sure if I can achieve that with any of the ink colors I have. Well, that's not too bad, I guess. So that's the emerald green and the white. That's pretty good. Am I going to have to wipe it though every time? Maybe, because it's pretty opaque still. Okay, I'm calling this one done. The green worked out well. I can still see everything on the map. And I mean, here's some of the original green here. It does have some graphite on it, a little bit up in there. I think it blends just fine. I think what you see first is her face, which is what I wanted to have happen. And as you can see, I think I'm going to move this. I just left this part up here as is. So I will take some close-ups and put some photos at the end, along with some photos of the other ones that I've done in this series on the old papers. So thanks a lot for coming along. I hope you enjoyed watching the process and maybe it inspired you to give it a try. Like I said before, if you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. I'd love to have you here as part of my subscriber base to see what I come up with from time to time to share with you. And in the meantime, go make some art. Bye.